The goal at year-end is to present a clear picture of the organization's financial position and provide useful information to decision makers inside and outside the company. A company's financial position is shown on the balance sheet. Balance sheet details can vary from one company to the next or from industry to industry. But basically, all balance sheets show assets, liabilities, and owners' or stockholders' equity. A classified balance sheet, which shows current and non-current assets and liabilities, increases the usefulness of a non-classified balance sheet to a variety of users.
The classifications in the balance sheet are important because they indicate, they can speak to sources and uses of cash. For instance, current assets become a near-term source of cash, while current liabilities become a near-term use of cash. The amount of assets that are in the short-term working capital side of the balance sheet versus the long-term side are important, and they indicate options and flexibility. They can indicate options and flexibility that the company may have in future periods, depending on the proportion of assets that are in the current and long-term sections of the balance sheet. In the same way with liabilities, whether they're current or long-term, it indicates how quickly cash has to be captured to service the liabilities.
LeMadeline does use a classified balance sheet. I haven't seen a whole lot of companies that don't use a classified balance sheet. The reasons that we do are simply to distinguish short-term obligations and assets from long-term. The things that you might find on LeMadeline's balance sheet in terms of short-term assets are going to be cash. We have some receivables from our wholesale customer, the supermarkets, and we have a little bit of ingredients inventory, but not much because most of our product is, as I mentioned, 1 or 2 day type product, so it turns very quickly. The things that are large are the fact that we have to pay our people, and we don't pay them every day, so we have accrued payables to our own associates. And by far an even bigger piece of the current liability side of the equation is going to be how much we owe our landlords, and rent is a very large obligation for LeMadeline as we rent and lease each one of our locations. I would consider our balance sheet to be very healthy. Our debt-to-equity ratio is strong. Certainly somebody's going to look at long-term debt. That's a large piece of the equation. The amount of debt versus equity is a large piece of the equation. And from a financial statement user perspective, people are more focused on our income statement, on our cash flow, and our ability to pay off our obligations and our long-term forecasts with regards to income statement and cash flow. And that all certainly translates into a balance sheet and a particular snapshot at the end of a given period. That's an example of why we use a classified balance sheet.